Good afternoon and good morning or good day to you wherever you are hearing me from. In this short video, I will be explaining teaching practice, enhancing pedagogical content knowledge. Teaching practice provides the pre-service teachers with invaluable field experience, offering a deeper understanding of classroom dynamics. Imagine somebody who has been training for boxing and all that he has done is to fight with a punching bag. And the first time the person now came to the real ring and there is crowd, there are people bullying him verbally, mentioning his name, saying that he cannot win the opponent, that is too. All those distractions, they are not available in the training room where he trains the punching with the punching bag, because his coach gives him motivation there. But in the real classroom dynamics, what we usually experience is that the pre-service teachers are exposed to diverse student interaction. Somebody asking question, somebody saying it's not clear, with so much of concern in their faces, and you are exposed to the learning environment in the real sense. And during teaching practice, there is practical skill development. That means hands-on experience in lesson planning, /delivery, /assessment. For instance, during your methodology courses, teaching methods, maybe you prepared one lesson plan as an assignment, but here during teaching practice, you will have to prepare numerous lesson plan. You will have to discuss with so many other teachers in terms of how to assess the students, either in the classroom or for a test. So the most important part of lesson teaching practice is that it makes you to apply your theoretical knowledge to the real world teaching scenario. And what is pedagogical content knowledge? Is a crucial framework for effective teaching. It simply represents the unique blend of subject matter expertise, knowing the content, and instructional strategies required to make complex concepts accessible and engaging for students. For example, when you have a product, there's a difference between having that product and being able to sell it. So what happens is that the pedagogical content knowledge is the combination of the content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge. Content knowledge is deep understanding of the subject matter. This includes facts, theory, concept, principle within the discipline. That's the content knowledge, the topics, understanding the content. Then pedagogical knowledge is understanding of teaching methods, classroom management, learning theories, student development across all subjects. This one is not subject-based. For instance, it is wrong in your classroom to have taller students in the front and shorter students at the back, because they will be obstructing sight. It is wrong to have a classroom arrangement that does not allow free movement of teacher to monitor the classwork. Within these are not sensitive to any topic. It is relevant to every topic. These are pedagogical knowledge. They are general principles. Now, when we now take our content in one hand and change this principle to favor the content, then we are now in the pedagogical content knowledge realm. And this is a professional knowledge we need, because we use it to transform subject matter knowledge into forms of that are comprehensible to students, considering their prior knowledge and potential misconception. For instance, within the Yoruba system of knowing, a bat is neither considered a bird or a mammal, but within the frame of the Western way of knowing, the bat is a mammal because it doesn't lay egg like the apes, like the aves. So what I want to say is that when a student is coming to class from the Yoruba, maybe a village, a rural place, the teacher already know, the biology teacher already know the way the cultural knowledge is bringing, classify the bats. Hence, the teacher will now make attempts to ensure that the classification of the bats will be in line with that of the scientists. It will first make attempt to remove that one or look for a way to correct that one. So when you have a content knowledge, and the content knowledge, the pedagogical content knowledge may be topic specific. The way you teach summary in language, English language, is not that same way you will teach stress. You know, it may be topic specific. You know, it may be discipline specific. For example, science discipline, most of the subject there requires demonstrations and practical. It could also be subject specific. You are teaching music and you have to learn notes and all of that. So that is just the summary of whether. And PCK is dynamic, evolving as educator. Don't feel bad if you are not yet there. It is gradual, and it happens based on experience and reflection. When you reflect on, what did not work here, what will now work next time, you will have the understanding of how the pedagogical content knowledge actually works. It enables teachers to anticipate student difficulty, select appropriate analogy. If you remember in the first video, I said that if you have a mathematics teacher teaching the nomads children, and the teacher wants to use their daily experience to illustrate subtraction, and he says that if there is 10 cows on this side and 2 of them move to the other side, how many will remain here? And based on the children experience, they are aware that if the 2 cows moves, the other 8 will follow, and they said there will be nothing remaining. The teacher may be frustrated, but when the teacher proves further, the children says that the logic is that cows follow each other, so immediately one go, the other people will follow. So as a result of that, the teacher now knows that that analogy is not appropriate for those category of children that he is teaching. So PCK works with both experience and reflection. So during this TP, you must reflect daily. You can keep a reflection diary where you incorporate all the things so that you can design meaningful activities that bridge the gap between abstract concepts and student learning. Now, I want to quickly talk about OTL. OTL is simply opportunity to learn. That means, what are the things that makes you learn? And content knowledge, So, basically, we have pedagogical content knowledge. And the first knowledge is content knowledge. This OTL is where do students develop content knowledge. You develop content knowledge mostly in your cognate courses. These are not the courses you offer in the Faculty of Education. Most of the time is always maybe in science. It may be in the Faculty of Arts, Faculty of Social Sciences, and within this course, you will develop your content. You will acquire content knowledge concerning a lot. The next one is the pedagogical content knowledge. That's the purpose of most of the teaching method courses. For example, English teaching method, biology teaching method, mathematics teaching method, physics teaching method. That means how to teach different courses. You will develop pedagogical content knowledge in these courses. So you have to take those courses serious. During your teaching practice, you may have to carry your lesson note and carry this course, those courses where you are taught methods of teaching, and reflect on them and read on them. Then the teaching practice, which is the real experience of teaching and learning, you will develop pedagogical content knowledge. You will also develop pedagogical knowledge. You will also develop content knowledge. So teaching practice makes you develop all the three types of knowledge. The what you want to teach, how to teach generally, and how to teach specifically. In content knowledge, during the cognate course, some of you might have come across a very good teacher and you might adopt his method. So don't think the cognate course is only functioning for content knowledge. You may adopt the course because of that particular teacher that is good. I remember I used to know a teacher that tells us the objective of his course per day. We will be aware. So when we are aware, I also want my students to be aware of the objective. So it is possible, but what I'm saying is that the main emphasis of content knowledge is during the cognate course. And so during micro teaching, most of the micro teaching that are done, mostly in colleges of education, students develop the what we call the pedagogical knowledge. And during teaching observation, when you went to observe a teacher, you may develop pedagogical knowledge. You can also develop technology pedagogical. That means how the teacher is teaching. What technology is he using? That may not be available when you were doing your micro teaching or teaching methods. You can see those technology the classroom teacher is actually making use of. Next is that how do you develop the pedagogical content knowledge in the course of your teaching practice? How to develop the pedagogical content knowledge in the course of teaching practice. The first thing that I would love you to understand is that during teaching practice, you will be developing your pedagogical content knowledge through the observation of your cooperating teacher and receiving feedback from your supervisor. These two are very important. The observation of the practicing, the teacher you met in the school, teaching the same subject as you are, we provide you practical insight into lesson delivery. Those people acting, they were once watching other actors before they became actors themselves. So it's a good method. You might not even stay with your cooperating teacher alone. If you are less busy, other science teacher, other arts teacher, experienced teachers, people that have been marking over the years, you can sit with them and see the way they grade, their grading practices, and so much more. Then finally, the feedback from your college supervisor or university supervisor. And what the feedback does is that it gives you the knowledge of what to improve upon and what to refine and what to continue doing. So some of those feedback may be corrective. Within your lesson notes, maybe you wrote a symbol wrongly, maybe your expression is grammatically incorrect, maybe you have misspelled some things, maybe your objective was not properly written with action verbs. Those feedbacks are corrective. They are not to bring you down, but they are corrective. Then some are affirmative. Oh, this one, you did it well. You used the right instructional material. So when you reflect, you will now know that this particular way of doing things is well encouraged by your supervisor. And as a result of that, you will be able to move on doing them by yourself. Now, there are 5 components of PCK that I would love to. Other literature may have other ones, but for the purpose of this presentation, I will stay with these 5. The first one is deep understanding of the subject matter that you are teaching. That means the pre-service teacher must have a deep mastery and understanding. You can't be the same person who cannot distinguish between a clause and a phrase. How will you make learners to understand it? Or you can't differentiate between what happens in the cathode or anode, or demand and supply, or latitude and longitude in geography. You don't know so many distinctions or the content, the steps. You can't help. So you have to master content by reading textbook, watching documentary, and all of those things. The next thing is that through the pedagogical strategies, or some people call it conceptual teaching strategy. How do you teach those things? For instance, it is wrong to start a class with a note and you are making them to write on the board. No. You have to develop the concept first. What is erosion? So you begin to talk about what they see in their environment before you start writing notes, so that they will have the understanding. So when they are writing the notes, they will have understanding. And how do I teach it? Do I take them out of, if I'm teaching that erosion and there are places close to the school that has been eroded over the time, is it proper that I take them out? Or do I just talk about erosion with ordinary picture? Knowing the right strategy for those concepts that you are teaching. You may use 4 or 5 strategies for different concepts within the same topic. The next thing is the curricular knowledge. That means curriculum knowledge, familiarity with the educational program and resources. That means you will notice that there is a curriculum or scheme of work or syllabus, and your cooperating teacher may rearrange it. He may make number 2 to become number 1, and make number 1 to become number 2. And make number 3 to be in a particular subject based on his experience of student difficulties over time. So as we begin to reflect on this type of experiences, we need not to worry ourselves. All that we have to do is to constantly take the best practice concerning the curriculum that we are aware of. So you must be having the curriculum. The next thing is the learner's characteristics, which I have explained earlier. The misconception, the learning style they have. And the fifth one is ability to evaluate student learning effectively. For instance, some questions are not important. What is economy? What is biology? So when you observe experienced teacher, they won't ask such a question. That's not the knowledge base that the examining bodies are actually determining. Apart from this, it is also important to know how to carry out the assessment during the instruction so as to track the student progress and to be aware that you are not running ahead of their comprehension. The same thing applies. You may be teaching something that they are already aware of. So when you are developing all these 5 components, it means you are having a successful teaching practice. These 5 must continuously develop in the process of doing your teaching practice, because they are pillars that you must continuously strengthen through experience and guided reflection. You must reflect at the end of every class and every day. These are very crucial for your process of teaching and learning. Thank you very much. I would love you to subscribe and like this channel.